the staff, management, ownership, or advertisers of WLAF TV 12, 1450 WLAF Radio, FM 100.9, or 1450WLAF.com.
When every second counts, count on Vital Care MedTrans. You do have a choice when it comes to ambulance service in this area. So when you call 911, ask for the best.
Wait a minute, are you Vital Care?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good.
State-of-the-art equipment and a well-trained staff who stand ready to respond to your call. That's Vital Care MedTrans, when nothing but the best will do.
Are we on, Honeybee? Thank you, Honeybee. Welcome, folks. I'm Jerry Chadwell, your host for the next, I don't know that I'll make it an hour. I'm like most of you, or a lot of you probably, whatever pollen's out there, it's attacked me, it's attacked a lot of people. So hopefully I can make it the whole time. I'm going to need help tonight for sure. So remember our folks that help us out with the show. Vital Care's out there running them ambulances up and down the road, carrying people here and there. All you have to do is call them at the number on the board, or if you need emergency assistance, when you call 911, just ask for Vital Care. They'll send them your way. So in Riggs Drugs, if you go down there, folks, they got people working like crazy, filling them prescriptions. And they've actually, I went down there today, they've actually got, some of you that haven't just browsed through the store, they got some nice little knick-knack stuff just all over that store, you know. So go down there and check them out at Riggs Drugs, and certainly take your pharmaceutical needs down there. They'll help you out. They'll take care of you. So not really any pressing issues tonight, really, other than I'm going to probably take a couple of polls. You know, I was telling Honeybee before the show started that, you know, I mean, we're getting more and more news that Jamie Satterfield with the Knoxville News Sentinel, she must be living in the courthouse up here. She does an article on Amanda Salmons, Judge Amanda Salmons, about every other day, it seems like. She did one, I think it was yesterday, that it looked to me like that, you know, from the article, it looked to me like she accused Judge Salmons of lying from the bench. So that's the way it looked to me like. I don't know if that's exactly what she was saying, but the way I interpreted it, it looked like, you know. So one question that we might have here in a little bit is, if she were to be replaced, who would you want her to replace by? We probably don't have it about 7 or 8 choices here in Campbell County, but who would you want her to be replaced by? And are some of you out there fed up enough that you want her replaced, or you think she's doing a good job? You know, I've got to know Amanda. I think the world of her. I have not been in the courtroom. I've read all these stories. I've seen some of the documentation that goes with all that, but it just, you know, that just seems to be, every time I put something, and you know, generally I don't make any comments about it or anything, that my Facebook page, Campbell County Arrest, I was telling Honeybee, I put that story on yesterday, and it's been hit over 11,000 times already, according to what the Facebook shows. And that just seems to be the number one thing whenever I put something on there. That's just the number one thing that people are attracted to and want to know about what's going on. So any of you that's got any opinions about that, you know, I'd be curious to know what you think about that. Another thing that we looked at, I want to make mention of a couple of things. I'm reading on WLAF, and WLAF show their webpage. I saw that they made the announcement that both lanes on southbound I-75 are now open. So that'll certainly cut down a lot of traffic coming through town off the mountain. It's not going to help anything going north really. But, that'll, if you can cut that traffic in half, at least, that'll help out. So southbound apparently is both lanes appear to be open. So, if you get yourself up on the upper side, of course, if you want to go up that way, you still got to go up the old road out of La Follette up through Jellicoe, so Chasky and Habersham and all that. So, but that is apparently open tonight, and that's good. If I think there was something that they had to have it open by the 19th, or something like that, and they certainly got the southbound open very quickly. So hopefully they won't have any more issues with that. If anybody out there knows about the food giveaway thing that was going to happen in Caryville, I tried to call the two numbers that are associated with that food giveaway in Caryville. If anybody knows anything about that, give us a call and let us know what you know about it. The last thing I saw on it, I think, I want to say the La Follette Press put something out a couple of weeks ago that said it was going to be on Saturday, March the 19th. Honeybee, I asked her about it earlier. She said they haven't told, as far as she knows, they haven't told WLAF anything. Okay, so the food drive that's supposed to happen at Caryville put off twice because of weather. They need, if any of you know about that, call and let us know, what's going on that. So, and maybe one of those people that I called on one of those two numbers, they both went to voicemail. Maybe one of them will call me back and we can figure that out. So, one thing I wanted to talk about tonight, I was hoping to have, and this is going to be another situation where I want your opinions. I was hoping to have somebody on here to announce that they were going to run for state representative. And that didn't happen. They're not here. Obviously, you don't see them. They're not here. I was hoping they would be here, but they haven't made it yet. So what I'd like to do is, I've made it no secret. You all have seen that. I've made it no secret. I'd like some opinions from you folks that, I've made no secret that I'm not a fan of Dennis Powers. He's done nothing, folks. He has absolutely done nothing as a state representative. You can ask, Jack Cannon, the mayor of Jacksboro. They were trying to get him to pass a bill about the Suboxone. Is that what it's called? Suboxone, whatever that clinic is down there, to get that kind of thing under control, to pass a state bill. But if you looked at the news report that came out, it said the lobbyist got that stopped. Okay? Lobbyists don't have a vote, folks. How do they get something stopped? They don't have a vote. All they can do is tell the state representatives and state senators that they're going to quit taking them to them fancy dinners they take them to. They're going to hold out their support for their re-election campaigns. And because that's what lobbyists do. They give them money, they give them support, toward their re-election and all that. Okay, so we've got Senator Yeager and State Representative Powers that the city of Jacksboro is trying to get them to help them put some legislation on this Suboxone, and they've gave in to lobbyists down there instead of what the citizens back here want. They've gave in to lobbyists and can't even get that thing looked at. Because people down there with I don't know, in the pill business or whatever. I'm sure it's not pharmaceuticals, because I've had a talk with Mr. Fannin about that, Bob Fannin, and I think he told me that he won't even fill a prescription if it comes out of that place down there. If it's somebody that's not local. If it's somebody that's local, I'm not sure about that, but I know he told me that somebody called that was from Kentucky or something, that had a prescription and he wouldn't fill it, so they're not in cooperation with that kind of thing. But our state representative and our state senator can't even get it discussed because lobbyists who don't have a vote whatsoever shut them down. They got no backbone. If they're going to let lobbyists shut them down where they can't even talk about this thing, there's no backbone at all. So I'd like to take a few minutes and get some of you to call and tell me who you would like to see run for state representative against Dennis Powers, whether it be a Republican or a Democrat, doesn't matter. Okay, I'm a Republican. You all know that. Okay, I have told a certain Democrat, that if he were to run against Dennis Powers, I'll support him. I'll put him on this show and I'll support him. Okay, because I want somebody that'll go down there and do something that actually is beneficial for Campbell County instead of what's totally beneficial for the Republican Party. Our state representative Dennis Powers, all he's interested in is what's good for the Republican Party. That's it. So but call and give me some opinions who you would like to see run for state representative against Dennis Powers. You're on the air.
Yeah, I like to see Bill Fannin run.
Bill or Bob?
Bill or Bob, either one of them.
Bill or Bob, okay. But
I like to see Bob, but I don't believe he will. But I like to see him run because I believe he can handle it.
I don't think I haven't talked to Bill. Now I'll be honest with you. I told Bob if he would run, I would support him.
Yeah.
We've had that conversation. Now I don't know where he is along his lines of thinking.
Yeah.
But I've told him I would support him. And, Bob's a Democrat. I don't know if you know that or not. He is.
I don't care.
But I think Bob would look out for Campbell County.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, thank you.
You're on the air.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello.
I'm a Republican, but when I've never voted for Dennis Powers, and I never will.
I won't either.
When Jerry Cross, when he was running,
Yeah.
he was a good one. I voted for him, and he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
But I voted for him over Dennis Powers. And if somebody else had run a Democrat, I would vote for them.
Over Dennis Powers, I agree with you. A couple years ago, Keith Klopfelter ran once, and he had a pretty decent showing. But it's expensive to run.
It is.
I called Keith the next time and asked him if he was going to run again, and he wasn't interested anymore. And but it's just expensive to run. You got to put out a lot of your own money, and then hopefully the party you represent will help you out with some money. But
we tried to get Dennis Powers to help us.
Yeah.
Burn all that Baker's Forge trouble out there.
Right.
And he wouldn't even show up or give us the time of day.
Oh no, he ain't gonna help. He ain't gonna help on nothing. If he can get his picture in the paper, he might come out.
Now, if we'd have brought a camera, he would have showed up.
If you could get a picture in the paper, he might. But it's just like this suboxone clinic. I mean, people are up in arms in Jacksboro about it. But I mean, how do you just come out and say, the lobbyists defeated this thing? The lobbyists don't have a vote. How did they defeat it?
That's why everybody's so mad at the government right now.
Yeah.
Everybody is, because every one of them politicians need to throw it out of there.
They do.
They're mad over.
Well, most of them do. There's a few good ones, but
now, you hardly find any good ones.
You hardly find any good ones. Do you have somebody that you would like to see run?
I would support anybody, really, over Dennis Powers.
Anybody over Dennis Powers?
Yeah, anybody over him.
You know who'd be interesting to see down there? Cliff Jennings.
It would.
and that was just Cliff. Cliff's got no desire to do it.
No,
That's just the name I thought of. It'd be interesting to see him down there arguing with them on the state level.
But we have got a good lot of people around here that's honest and decent that do a good job if they'd run.
If they'd run, and unfortunately the good people generally won't run. You know,
That's the truth. We always get the
You know.
nobody wants.
you know, and I've had people tell me, and I'm gonna take part of the blame for it. I've had people tell me, some good people say, why would I want to run for that office when there's people like me and people like R.L. Gibson and other people out there that are just constantly running them down and running them down and running them down. And, you know, and I said, well, if you go in there and do a good job, we won't run you down.
That's the truth.
You know, if you don't go in there seeing what you can get out of it, you know, like this health insurance policy, you know, I mean, that's just a totally self-serving thing right there. That health insurance policy that's costing, I think, about $120,000, you know.
It is.
You know, that's a totally self-serving thing. If you don't come in, you know, there's one commissioner down there that he made no secret of it. The last 2 elections, he made no secret whatsoever. The only reason he ran was because he wanted the county's health insurance.
Well, those in my district voted for it, and
What district you in?
I'm up here at, I believe the second.
Second? Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I've got a list here shows me who voted for it, but I don't remember.
But I'm going to vote against all mine that's in there right now. I know that.
Well, and they should be, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I think all 3 of mine voted for it, and I'll go, you know, I'll vote against them just because of that.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm going to vote against.
Yeah,
And they increased the taxes. The first time they passed the taxes,
Yeah.
one in my district voted for it. And that's what upset me too.
Let's see who,
I believe Mailman Gibbs is one of them. I'm in his district.
now the health insurance, the only one in your district, if you're in the second, the only one that voted for it is Lonnie Weldon.
Okay.
Colmeyer and Kitts voted against it.
But I think all 3 of mine voted for the first tax increase.
Oh, they did do that, yes.
That's what turned me against them. And
Yeah, I got it right here. They certainly did do that. So
so they're done wiped off my list.
there you go. And I'll have that list right here when it comes next election time.
Well, that's good because everybody needs to know this.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, buddy. I got another call.
Okay. Night, Jerry.
Thank you. You're on the air.
Yeah, Jerry, I think you ought to run.
And I don't have a chance of winning. I can't get elected in Caryville. So, you know, of course now it's been explained to me why I can't win in Caryville. I mean, you know, again, there's no question. Everybody knows I'm Republican. Caryville is a Democrat community that is controlled by one family down there. One family controls the whole thing. Now, I'm not going to mention that family's name, but they control the whole thing. And they're Democrats, and everybody follows them, you know, and they ain't ever going to vote for me. You know, and I finally,
Take a try.
you know, so, well, I've tried, and one of these days I might try again, but I don't, you know, because I'd love to serve on the Caryville board. I don't have any desire to serve anywhere else, but I'd love to serve on the Caryville board.
And I think you could do a lot in Campbell County.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you. You're on the air.
Hey, big guy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'd like to see Johnny Burge either run for the Senate or the State House.
You know, I've asked him before.
Well, I'd have to vote against him because he does such a good job as our recreation director. I wouldn't want him to leave.
Well, he does do a good job up there. There ain't no question about that.
Best recreation director we've ever had. He does a great job of them kids.
Right.
So we'd have to vote against him, wouldn't we?
Well,
So we could keep him here.
he does a good job up there. There ain't no question about it. And
I've talked to him about running, and he doesn't show a whole lot of interest in our office.
well, I don't know, I'm not going to say that I agree with you there. That he doesn't show any interest in higher office. He just doesn't show any interest in that office.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that office requires you to go to Nashville, about 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Yeah, he's a good man.
You know, I mean, if you go to that position, you know, Johnny would miss pretty much the whole baseball season,
Yeah.
part of the basketball season. You know, and he loves doing that.
Yeah, we can't, it'd be hard to lose him.
Yeah, he you know, he loves doing that, and he does, You know, he does a real good job with them kids down there.
What's the deadline on somebody signing up to run?
I've got that right here. Let me get to it.
Well, let me get off the phone.
Hold on, man. I've got that right here somewhere. You gonna go pick you a petition up?
Oh, no, there's no way I'd run. I can't afford a haircut. I couldn't afford signs.
You'd have to have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I can't even afford a haircut right now, so.
Somebody will cut your hair.
Who?
So I said somebody would.
Well, I wouldn't want to run. I'd have to run the primary, being a Republican, but we got to keep beating the bushes. We got to find somebody who will replace these establishment politicians.
Right.
Who are in it just for themselves and their own retirement.
I'm not going to say I disagree with you there.
Well, but anyway.
Because, you know, I made the point that when I was talking about the county's health insurance, I went out and did some research. Well, the state policy is better than the county's policy.
Well.
And, you know, we pay for that, too.
I'm going to tell you something. When they stole the chairmanship in the offices of the Campbell County Republican Party, you know, that detention hall gang took over the meeting.
Right.
And stole all the offices. And after Dennis Powers stole the chairmanship of the Campbell County Republican Party, got up and said, "Oh, I'm so grateful that y'all gave me this office." You know, it'd be like John Dillinger robbing a bank and then sending them a note or giving them a speech saying, "Thank you so much for all this money you gave me."
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's all I can do to keep from throwing up my breakfast that morning.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. When I walked into that meeting, I looked at what was going on. I turned around and left.
Well, they railroaded all their candidates.
That whole thing was a railroad. That's all it was.
Alienated half the Republicans in this district.
Well, it goes back to when I was chairman of the party. Okay. I was an outsider the whole time I was chairman of the party because I was never part of that inner clique. And, you know, they've got the opinion, it's their party. It's not the Campbell County Republican Party. It's their party.
That's right.
And if you want to be part of it, you're going to do what they tell you to do. You're going to handle it the way they want you to handle it. It's not the Campbell County Republican Party.
Well, Dennis Powers did the same thing when we tried to start a Tea Party.
Yeah.
He stole that for his own personal benefit.
He did. I remember that well. Him and Bill Claiborne, if I remember right.
It's real sad the way they behave and get away with it. But he put on his engineering cloak. He went up on the interstate and he shared his expertise on interstate repair with engineers up there, and they got that southbound lane open now. He worked a miracle. Went up there and waved his magic wand.
I bet you he'll take credit for it. What do you want to bet?
You know he will.
Didn't have a thing to do with it, but I bet you'll take credit for it.
Yeah, he's all of a sudden, he goes up there with a magic wand. He's an instant engineer and expert on the interstate.
Right.
So anyway.
Hey, I got this here. The last date to turn in a petition, if you're going to run for something, the last date for the August election is April 7th at 12 noon. You better have your petition in with at least 25 good verifiable signatures.
They run in November though, don't they?
Who?
Powers and Yeager.
There's a what do you call it? Primary in August.
Oh, okay. Primary is in August, but the general.
Yeah, they have to be qualified by April or they're out.
Okay, April what now?
April 7th. So what is that, about 3.5, 4 weeks?
Oh, okay.
About 4 weeks from now.
We gotta find somebody and get them interested.
Well, I was hoping we had somebody who's interested. I was hoping to have him here tonight, but I don't see him. So I don't know what's going on, but, we'll see what happens.
Okay, buddy. Great show.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, well, I'm not getting any, only had 2 people mention who they'd like to see run against Dennis Powers. I'm surely some folks out there has got an opinion on that. Maybe you're for Dennis Powers. If you are, one thing I noticed when you get on Facebook, I've had several people get on there, and people that you know, I'm sure there's people that you know, if I mention their names, get on there talking about the wonderful job that Dennis Powers and Ken Yeager are doing. And I'll get on there and I'll question and I'll say, okay, you're saying they've done a wonderful job. What is it that they've done that is such a wonderful job? Not a single one of them people have yet to be able to answer that question on Yeager or Powers. They can't answer the question. They get on there just to say, oh, they're doing a wonderful job and they're doing great. They're helping the community. Then when you ask, what have they done? What have they done? There is no answer. You don't get an answer. They want to argue and say, well, you just don't like them and all. I said, well, that's got nothing to do with it. Tell me what they've done. There is no answer. If somebody wants to come sit right on this show with me with verifiable facts, not just up in your mind, you're thinking something happened, with verifiable facts as to what Ken Yeager or Dennis Powers has done for Campbell County, I'd be glad for you to come sit down here. I'll sit off to the side and keep my mouth shut and maybe interject every now and then. But, what have they done? I'd like to know. And it's important, folks, because we got an election coming up in August, a primary. And then in November, we're going to elect state representative, and I think state senators up this time too. We're going to elect these positions again. I'd like somebody down in Nashville that's more interested in helping out Campbell County than they are climbing the party ladder. Dennis Powers has climbed the party ladder. He's done an excellent job at that. Somebody told me he's the party gopher. When they need something, they holler at Dennis, go for it, go for it, go for it, go get it. That's what his position is. When somebody, one of the higher ups, needs something, they holler at Dennis, say, go for it, go get it. But what has he done for Campbell County? If he'd done anything, I might be for him, but he's not done anything, folks. And just like that caller called, they had a party executive committee election was sometime earlier. Well, I guess it was last year. And if you went to that thing, I can tell you Tom Hatmaker was opposed to what all they did there, and Tom could tell you what they did was just a travesty. They did not. It was not an inclusive meeting whatsoever. They had that thing set up. They said, we're going to nominate this person. It wouldn't allow anybody else to be nominated. And they just, that's a problem. I don't know how the Democrat Party does things. But the way the Republican Party does it here in Campbell County, they don't care about you folks. They've got their own private little thing, and that's all they care about. So anyway, so enough of that. I'd like to see somebody run against Dennis. But the fact is on that, it takes a lot of money to run for that position. It takes, and plus if you do get elected, you're going to be in Nashville. I think they go down there on Monday evenings and come home on Thursday evenings or Friday mornings. That's about 3.5, 4 months out of the year. And then there's other times during the year that you're called back down there for special meetings or special events or something like that. It's a tough deal. Not everybody wants to live that kind of life. It's just it's just a tough thing because you're away from home a lot, and especially if you have small children. That'd be a tough deal. I remember when my little brother was down there as a state representative. The toughest thing for him was he had 3 small kids at home. He enjoyed being the state representative, but he had 3 small kids, and it tore him up to be gone as much as he was gone. away from his kids, you know. When your kids are a little bigger and they're in college and off on their own doing their own thing, you folks know it. Shoot, they don't want to see you anyway, you know. So they don't care about you. So, but anyway, let's move on. There don't seem to be anybody wanting to talk about that much. The Amanda Salmons thing, Hazel Valley looked into that. He was on here a few minutes ago. He looked into that. If she were to, if anything happens, and she were to be, let's see, you're on the air.
Yes, I heard that Johnny Jones was running for state representative. Have you heard anything?
I talked to Johnny about that. Johnny and I go to church together. I talked to Johnny about that, and he's thinking about it. He has not committed to it just yet. He's still thinking about it. I don't know if he's even picked up a petition. I didn't ask him about that. We just talked about it.
I heard he picked up a petition.
Did you? Okay, I meant to call today, and I've been sick. I've been so sick with these, I don't know if it's pollen or what, but I just didn't even have. It never even occurred to me I was so sick today to hopefully I'll find out. But Johnny told me that he does have an interest. He knows it'd be a difficult road to go because he would run as a Republican. And running as a Republican, you've got a three-time incumbent there. It's difficult to run against a three-time incumbent, even one that ain't doing nothing for the community.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you, ma'am. You're on the air.
Tom Hatmaker,
For what?
state representative.
Well, that'd be a good idea. I hadn't thought about that. That'd be a good idea. Tom Hatmaker. Tom, if you're out there watching, he's probably in his garage. He's always working on that old car of his. If you're out there watching, Tommy, somebody's wanting you to run for state representative, give us a call. Let's talk about it. So, but that'd be a good idea because, Tommy's one. He'll buck the system if he has to.
He won't sit in the corner quietly.
Well, he won't sit in the corner quietly, and just because he's one party or the other, he ain't gonna sit there and just pull the party strings just because that's what the party wants. Tommy ain't gonna do that.
He's not your yes boy.
No, he's not at all. I 100% I agree with you that. And I got to watch a little bit of RL show Monday night, and
Called in.
huh?
Tom called in.
Tom called in, and RL was right that Tom pretty much by himself got that lighthouse project stopped. Now RL started to take credit for it. Did you hear that? RL started to say, yeah, we got that done right here on this show. And Tom put a stop to that. But because that's just not the case. Tom did that by himself.
That's one thing about it. He's a hat maker.
He'll stir it up, won't he?
You ain't going to intimidate him. You ain't going to shut him up.
No, you ain't going to.
Stand his ground.
He's going to have his say. So, okay, thank you, ma'am. Hadn't thought about that one, folks. Tom Hatmaker. That's a good thought right there. So, Tom would probably be a good one, but now could he, Tom runs a business. He's a self-employed person. He runs that tree company. Could he take off from the tree company and do that? I ain't sure he could do it. You're on the air.
Jerry, I'd like to see Tom Hatmaker run for it. I think he would.
I think he would be excellent. I really do. I think he would be excellent. And Tom would get something done for Campbell County.
He would. That's true.
So that's one I hadn't even thought about, to be honest with you, until she said that. And I think that's an excellent suggestion right there. Maybe we ought to give Tom a call.
He's got the experience, doing stuff, and so he would really make a good.
Well, the one thing Tom's got is he's got the knowledge to do research himself instead of depending on others to do the research.
Yeah.
About a situation, whatever they might be talking about. Tom's got, he's got the knowledge to do the research for himself so that he knows what he's looking at, he knows what he's talking about, instead of just taking somebody else's, taking one of his aides, one of his helpers' word for it.
That's right, but I think he would be out there working for it instead of staying home and letting somebody else try to do his job. And so I just really think Tom would be a good one.
That is a good idea. I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, that's there's 4 weeks left in that, folks. Tom's got I don't see Tom doing it simply because of his tree company. What would he do with that while he's gone? That tree company demands a lot of his time. I've talked to Tom about his tree business, and it takes up a whole bunch of his time. He stays busy. But that is an excellent. Somebody like Tom Hatmaker, that is an excellent idea. So there you go. So we can talk about that some more if you want to, but I do want to touch on the process. A couple of weeks ago on the Amanda Salmons thing, there was an interview with somebody from Nashville. I don't remember what the guy's position was, but he said with the complaints that had come up at that time 2 or 3 weeks ago, the most that would happen in her situation would be an official reprimand. That's like slapping her on the wrist and saying, "Don't do it again." Okay. And again, I'm not one way or another on this. I think the world of Amanda Salmons. Okay. The Amanda Salmons part that I know. I've not been in the courtroom. I've not seen that. Okay. The one thing that I do, because several people have told me it's true, and the research has been done and shown that it's true. She locks that door. She had the bailiffs. Documentation shows that that she apparently locks that, has the bailiffs lock the door, does a roll call, and if you're not in there, she has you thrown in jail just because you're late. Well, in that latest article that came out, I think yesterday, it talked about one time when Judge McAfee was looking at some cases with something to do with children and all that, I believe. Judge McAfee was looking at these cases. She went to his court instead of going to her court. So she was late to her court, apparently. All those people sitting there, she was late to her court. Well, if she had done the right thing, since she had other people locked up, she would have went down to the jail if this happened, okay? The documentation seems to show that it did. But if it happened this way, she should have went down to jail and had herself locked up for 24 hours, okay? If she's going to treat other people that way, she needs to treat herself that way. That's just the way I see it. Let's see. You're on the air.
Why did she not turn herself into the jail?
Well, I don't know why she didn't do it, and but that's my thinking, that if she's going to treat other people that way, she is a judge of the law, but she's not a judge above the law. She's not above the law.
Exactly.
Okay, and
if she has other people arrested for being late for their court appearance, and if she was late for her, she should have been locked up.
She should have went down there and locked herself up. Had them lock her up. If that happened that way, and the documentation appears to say that it did happen that way. Okay, so but if it did, that's only fair.
Yeah, she's not above the law.
So there's some people seem to be accusing her of acting like she is above the law. So, and I don't know, because again, I haven't been in the courtroom.
She didn't turn herself in to be placed under arrest after being late for her court appearance, then she obviously thinks she's above the law.
Well, I don't see how a person can feel, even though she's the judge, I don't see how a person can feel that's right if you're locking other people up for being late, And I've been told by several people that they're out in the hallway trying to get in the courtroom. Okay. Now, one of the facts is, and I think somebody's going to start pressing this issue pretty soon. My understanding is by law, you can't lock that door. When court's going, you can't lock that door and keep people out. That is a public place. It's a public setting. You can't lock that door and keep people out.
Open to the public.
It's open to the public. You cannot lock that door. And it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out.
State Fire Marshal do.
I think the state fire marshal, I talked to a fire marshal about it, and he told me that the only concern he would have is if they don't have the panic bars on the door, and I haven't been down there to see, but I've been told they do have the panic bars, that, if you just push the panic bars, you can get out. Now, the fire marshal's not concerned about people getting in. He's concerned about people getting out. That's what he told me, okay? Well, my thinking is if you have a fire, you got to be concerned about getting in.
But that is open to the public. The courts are.
It's open to public. The only time it's not open to public is when there's a situation where children involved, and the law does allow you to lock that door in that case.
Yeah, but they have juvenile court different days, don't they?
I think somebody told me Tuesdays and Thursdays that they have that, and the other days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, is when everybody else is there. I think that's what I was told.
Now, RL upholds Amanda Sammons in anything she does.
Well, because he sits there and RL likes to say everybody in the world got elected on his show. I mean, he sat there and said Amanda Sammons got elected. I seen him. She got elected on this show. She did. No, she didn't. She didn't get elected on my show, his show.
God.
He said that, I'll never forget, he said Lincoln Davis got elected on his show. When Lincoln Davis was the United States Congressman, that district consisted of 24 different counties. How in the world did 24 different counties elect Lincoln Davis on R.L. Gibson's show? And Monday night, if you listened, he wanted to take credit that his show got that lighthouse stopped. His show didn't get that lighthouse stopped. Tom Hatmaker got that lighthouse stopped. R.L. likes to brag about himself. I
believe R.L. has illusions of grandeur.
I think he has a lot of illusions of grandeur. Because I've told him at some point in time, R.L., this just didn't happen. So, but if he, and like I said, I think the world of Amanda Sammons. I really do. But, the stuff that I've done the research on, the documents I've seen, plus the articles that have come out and all that, and you put it all together, everybody else can't be wrong and her be right. When there's so many people that have complaints.
Wrong if it's her doing it or the people that appears before her.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you've generally considered that you've got to have done something wrong or you wouldn't be appearing in front of her, okay? But even if you are somebody that's been convicted of a crime or whatever it is you've done, there are so many complaints. Everybody can't be wrong, and she be the only one that's right in all this.
If you smell smoke, there's bound to be fire somewhere.
There's bound to be. It's excuse me. That kind of thing just amazes me that there are some people saying, well, if you don't want to be in court, don't commit a crime. And I'm 100%. I'm with you. If you don't want to appear in court, don't do something to get yourself to appear there. But if you do appear there, then the judge ought to abide by the law and how your case is handled.
The law ought to pertain to her, just like it does the people appearing before her.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not going to, and I want to clarify, I'm not sitting here saying she's done anything wrong, because I can't verify that she's done anything wrong. But I know with the documents I've read and everything I've seen, and I've seen some documents on some of the stuff, it appears that she.
Okay, look at her cases that Shane Sexton and Judge Maxby have struck down.
Right. Absolutely. And is she going to sit and say that they're both wrong and she's the only one right? Okay. You've got lawyers in there, you've got citizens in there, now you've got at least two judges that have ruled against her. Is everybody wrong but her?
Well, it seems like she got elected and she's just going to do what she wants to. The law doesn't apply to her in no way, shape, form, or fashion.
Right. So, well, there seems to be that appearance. Now, I'm not going to say, I'm trying to be real vague in it and saying I'm not going to say that's the way, that's what's happening and all that, but it seems to have that appearance.
Well, she don't apply by the rules that should apply to her. She don't play by them.
Well, and there is going to be a special prosecutor. I think the district of the third district attorney general is going to do an investigation into all this mess and see what's going on. And this is a thing that'll probably take a year or two to satisfy.
I guess everybody sees now Joe Ayers wasn't that bad after all.
Well, I don't remember any of this stuff coming up when Joe was in there. Do you?
No, I do not.
So I don't.
She promised that she'd have people in and out of court in a timely manner.
Yeah.
That's not so either.
Well, now one thing she did promise is she was going to start setting higher bonds, so that that jail wasn't going to be a revolving door down there, and she's definitely done that.
You read the arrest reports about at least once or twice a week. The same one is on the arrest report.
I can't deny what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how they are able to post bond and get out of jail.
When I look at some of these that are $75,000 and $80,000 and $100,000, I'm thinking, how in the world do these people afford this stuff? Because my understanding is you've got to pay down at least 10% of that. And maybe they've been there so long, maybe there's a discount on how much you have to pay at the percentage. But I've always thought it's been, you have to pay at least 10% of that to cover it, and then if you did run off, then you owe the bondsman owes the rest of it.
Yep.
Maybe they're getting them out on a lesser percentage. I don't know. But when you look at some of these that are up there at $75,000, $100,000, I mean, $100,000 bond, if you had to pay 10% of it, that's $10,000. Where's somebody coming up with that money at?
That's what I ask. How are they having the money to post bond time after time after time?
And you're right, and it is time after time after time.
Just read the arrest report. Guarantee there's 3 or 4 you'll see on there at least once or twice a week, every week.
Yeah, when I post on that Campbell County Arrest Facebook page, there's another fellow who's the main administrator of the page. I'm just a co-administrator with him. He posts the arrest report every day, and I'll post the mugshot list generally on the weekends. I'll go to the jail and get the list with the mugshots and the charges and the bond and all that. I'll put that on there every week so you can actually see their pictures. Now,
do you not see a lot of them mugshots time and time and time again?
Some of them I've seen so many times I think I'd notice them if I saw them at Walmart.
Yep.
Some of them that they're on there. It's a regular thing. You just know when you get that report they're going to be on there.
They'll just act like a rat.
They're going to be there. So I appreciate you calling.
Thank you.
Thank you. But let's say that after this special investigator, who is, I think I read it's the 3rd District Attorney General, the same person that is a comparable position to Jared Effler, but he's from the 3rd District, wherever the 3rd District is. I have no idea where that's at. He's going to do an investigation into this thing. And let's say somewhere down the line, and I'm going to guarantee it'll take a long time to do it, and everything going to be done quick. Let's say, and I don't know the process for getting the judge out of there, okay? But let's say if for some reason Amanda Salmons were removed, and I'm not saying I'm for that, okay? But just hypothetically, let's say she was removed. Hazel Valley did the research on it and sent it to me. And if I remember right, and he can call in here, correct me if I'm wrong, if she were to be removed, the county commission, I think, at its next meeting, at its next regular scheduled meeting, has an opportunity to appoint a replacement. Okay? It could be Joe Ayers. It could be one of the other attorneys that would, might have a desire to take that position. The county commission would have that opportunity. They could forego and pass that up and decide they don't want to get involved in that. If they did that, I think once it goes past 45 days, if I remember correctly, that appointment goes to the governor. And the governor will decide who he wants to put in that position, okay? Now, obviously, it has to be a Campbell County resident for that position. Has to live here. And we've only got, I don't know how many attorneys there actually are in Campbell County. I don't know who would be interested in it, We've got about 7 or 8 minutes left in the show. Do some of you all have an opinion as, if she were to be replaced, who you'd like to see her replaced with? I think that lady that just talked to seemed to think that, she'd like for her to be replaced with Joe Ayers and put Joe back in there. Certainly I don't remember any of these kind of issues coming up when Joe was the judge. I really don't, but you folks voted Joe out for some reason and voted Amanda in for some reason, you had whatever reason you had to, that's just the way it works, but I don't know who, I went down the list of some of the attorneys that I kind of know. I think the only one that would really want it would be the two that ran against Amanda last time, would be Joe Ayers and Kathy Parrott. I'm not sure Miss Parrott would still want it if she were appointed. And her being a Democrat, I'm not sure that the Republican governor would appoint her anyway. He would certainly have that option, but I don't know that he would appoint her. I'm not sure what party Joe Ayers belongs to. I really don't. But I know what party Miss Parrott belongs to. Because back when I was chairman of the Campbell County Republican Party, she ran in that special election for the seat that Judge McAfee now has, and there were 3 Republicans, and she was the only Democrat, and we had a judges forum at that time. So I've got no issues with Miss Parrott, but I just don't see a Republican governor appointing a Democrat. It generally just doesn't happen that way, folks. So, I would think the logical thing to do would be to appoint Joe Ayers back in the position. That's just the logic thing to do, because he's got the experience, and maybe maybe they wouldn't do that. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. So we got a few minutes. Anything else you want to talk about? If there's not, I'm going to get Honeybee in here and we're going to shut this thing down. So, because right now there's just not a lot going on. A buddy of mine did call me before the show and asked me, he said that the state legislature is looking at a bill to require children up to 12 years old, and I haven't seen this. If anybody's seen this, I don't know, but children up to 12 years old to sit in a child booster seat. Is that true? I have a buddy of mine who generally knows these kind of things. He's very well versed on his political, I can't imagine putting a 12-year-old in a booster seat. That just, some of those 12-year-olds are pretty big kids. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, excuse me, folks. So, I ain't feeling too good. I appreciate you all watching and the ones that participated tonight. I didn't have a lot going in. I knew I wanted to talk about those 2 things. The state representative race, because I'm very strong in my feeling that I would love to see somebody put Dennis Powers out, because I want somebody to, do something for this county. You're on the air.
It was 2 years old.
Huh?
It's 5 years old.
Oh, is it 5 years old?
Yeah, that's what the bill is.
Oh, okay. Somebody told me 12, and I thought that just doesn't sound right.
No, you know, of course, they just, it ain't done yet. It ain't passed.
Right. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of it. And then my buddy called me and asked me about it.
Yeah, it was on the news this afternoon, and I seen it.
Okay, I hadn't seen it. I appreciate you letting me know.
Okay, brother.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You're on the air.
Yes, Jerry, I saw that on the news last night on CNN, and they said that the child would have to be 12 or taller than 4 foot 9 inches.
That's what he told me. 12 years old or taller than, that's right.
Yeah.
Taller than 4 foot 9 inches.
Right, they said because the seatbelt
Yeah.
had to be able to fit right up at the shoulder the right way and at the hip bone the right way.
Right. Okay. Well, you know, I still can't imagine putting a 12-year-old in a booster seat. That just blows my mind.
I've got a 12-year-old granddaughter, and she's only about 2 inches shorter than I am, and she weighs about 10 pounds less than me.
Right. Okay. So hopefully, I don't know about that one. I'll have to do some research on that one.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Well, I had somebody else calling. Call back in here. I'll sit here long enough for you to call back in here. I've got Honeybee ready to shut me down. But somebody else was calling. I missed that call. Let's see. Honeybee, they're calling now. You're on the air.
Hey, your parents are going to have to carry the birth certificates around of all their children when they're out riding around.
That's crazy, ain't it?
You're going to have your children's birth certificates in the car with you. Now, isn't that silly?
That's kind of silly.
That's Dennis Powers, government out of control.
Government out of control.
But anyway, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man. So, Honeybee, let's give them about 15 seconds, see if that person calls back in. So, yeah, folks, I can't imagine 12 years old sitting in a booster seat. That one just blows my mind. Here we go, Honeybee. Hopefully this is the one. You're on the air.
Yes. They go by, I think they go by the weight of the child, too.
They go by the weight?
It has a lot to do with it.
No. Well, they would exclude me then. I'd be too heavy for a booster seat. I'll do some research on that one because, like I said, about 10 minutes before the show, my buddy called and asked me about it. I hadn't even heard. I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't watch the news. I appreciate you calling. Thank you, ma'am. Honeybee, you still in there? Okay, let's wrap this thing up, folks. I'm feeling kind of rough when it's just a couple minutes early. I appreciate you all. I'm going to do some research on this seatbelt thing, this child booster seat thing. And hopefully we'll have a guest on here next week. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.
When every second counts.